Hello, welcome back to my studio. This is Colleen Aiken with Designs of Value Art, and today we won't be painting, but I'm going to show you some different things that I'm trying out, and I hope that you'll pay attention and try some of these things out as well. I have gotten into Holbein Paints, and a couple different reasons. I did buy a book, and we'll go over the book so you can see that, and they recommend these paints, and I thought, well, I think I'm going to try another brand other than the Cardinal, which I do still love and will continue to love and paint with, but I wanted to try these. And this is a couple of the boxes that I've received. This first one is the Holbein Watercolor kit that comes with 12 colors. Now these are manufactured in Japan, and on eBay I found a young man, I believe he's young, I don't know, that he's stationed in Japan. And while he's over there, he's been dealing with the manufacturer of the Holbein paints and buying them right directly from the manufacturer. So when you place an order with him, he goes to the manufacturer and buys the paints that he needs. So that's kind of interesting. I think it's about as fresh a product that you're going to be able to find. The other nice thing about this young man is he is about 30% of the cost that everybody else is. I bought this one from him, and then this one I could not find in his listings, so I did end up having to go to Amazon because I wanted to try the botanical art watercolors that are translucent, and so I paid quite a bit more for this, more than half of what this was. So, but Amazon does carry the paints, so there we go. I'm not quite sure they're still making this one. Amazon was the only place I could find them. So let me put the boxes away. I did just today in the mail receive, and I'm looking for a pair of scissors that I can get this open, another kit from him. Again, the price was right, couldn't complain about the price. There's a pair, I guess we'll use these, and they come in right from Japan. You can see it with I guess it's a woman, Valerie. Good for her. FPO, which tells me she's stationed over there. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. See if I can get this open without damaging anything here. Like I said, they just came in today. They do take a little longer to get to us, but for the price, it's well worth the wait. They are really nice paints, I have to admit. I did do a color chart here, and I'll go through that with you as well. And that's something that you want to do anytime you're trying a new paint set, is do a color chart. So now I can look at this, and I actually set up my palette that I'm using for these paints just exactly. Actually, I copied this off of my palette so I could just follow through, and it'll take you a while to figure out which color's which, but this little chart is really the easiest way to do that. When I painted in oils, we set up our palette exactly the same every time. So we always had our white, we always had our lemon yellow, and then our other yellows, and then we went into oranges and reds, and it pretty much, I mean, absolutely the same. And boy, I'll tell you, that is the easiest way to learn your colors, the names of your colors, and how to find them quickly on your palette. Here we go. Now it's coming out. I'll let let you see this. If I can get this off. Should be able to. So she is really keeping them nice and wrapped up and secure for you. But there we go. At pastel, these are the pastel colors that I bought. So this will be interesting. I'll add these to the chart. Probably going to put them on a separate palette because I've got this one pretty well full, and I'm going to show you that in a moment too. But this is what they look like when you get them. You can just, it's got a lot of information here, but look at the pretty colors. They're really soft and pastel-y. So that'll be a fun item to try too. So we're going to keep those right here. So with the chart, like I said, I made it to follow. I always keep my palette covered because I'm in the basement. And I'm just going to pick up my, but here we go. Set this down. So we've got white, cadmium, yellow, lemon. Now this one has got a little bit of a different name. It's IM, and I don't know how to pronounce that, so I have to apologize. This is a pyro yellow light, cadmium yellow dark, and then we go into quinacridone gold, and I ordered that one separate from Blick because he does carry these too, but I really wanted to have that color in my palette because I really like that. And then we've got pyro red, vermilion, which is a orangey color, and then we've got cadmium lake, CAR, that one's beyond me, but then rose madder, and then we go to cerulean blue. Look at how beautiful that color is, and cobalt blue, ultramarine light, Prussian blue, opera. They don't have an opera rose, but they do carry an opera, which is nice. And then we have quinacridone violet, bee violet, so it must be a blue violet. Should have wrote out the whole name so I would know. Cadmium violet light, Prussian violet, which is really pretty. And then we go to the greens, and we start over here. Pea green, phthalo green, nice. Sap green, and then we go to a violet hue, which is a green, and then hooker's green, which is nice. And then we go up here to our yellow ochre, burnt sienna, Van Dyke brown, burnt umber, Payne's gray, and then indigo black. So I included the black and the white that comes with the kit. So I just wanted you to see how I had my palette set up. Look at all the space I've got, and this is just a square little bowl here, but look at all the space I've got for mixing and blending the colors that I want to make, which is really going to be a lot of fun. Okay, now this is the book that I told you about. Just leave that sit there. This is a Japanese gentleman, Hidenari Kobashi, and Tuttle Publishing is the name of the publisher. He's in the United Kingdom, the United States, and Japan, and a couple other countries, I do believe. And this is a step-by-step guide to botanical drawing and painting. And he does some interesting things in here, and he recommends the Holbein Paints. Of course, for him, it's much easier to grab and get than it was for me. But once you get used to the weight from this young lady that's over there, she's well worth the wait because of the price, I'll tell you. I was surprised when I compared, and I always do eBay, Amazon, Blick, whomever, just to see who's got the very best price when I'm looking for something like that kit of paint. And eBay was the best, I have to. And once I realized they were right in Japan, ordering the product right directly from the manufacturer, I was impressed, so I have to say. But here's a picture in the book of their Holbein paints and the ones they recommend, which I have. And then they set them out right on the palette, number them. And their brushes are similar. They use a size 6, 4, 3, 2, and a 1. It's probably like our 6 and 4. We don't use a 3 normally, but that's okay. And then they've got a nice watercolor paper that they can get their hands on that's very similar to like an Arches or something that's 100% cotton, of course. And then he gives you all the different pencils. Now he does do some colored pencils in here. He actually does kind of a mixed media as well with the colored pencils and the watercolors. So it's kind of an interesting book, and I like the way he does, like this flower is the cone shape upside down. These flowers are bowls, that type of thing. So it gives you some ideas of what you're looking at. And he shows you how to hold the brush, which is really nice to have, especially for a beginner. And then how he blends his paints out on his palette. He does a plastic palette. And again, I'm a ceramic person, because when you're using a plastic palette, it's going to bead up, and sometimes you can't quite see what the color is on that plastic. So I do like a ceramic. And I mean, I think I actually got these on Amazon, but you can get them right at Walmart too. So it's not like you're spending a lot of money to get that ceramic. Now here he's got some good ideas on erasing, if you want to erase different things. So it's really got some nice thorough training in here. And he does a couple different things that are surprising, and I'll go over those with you. Here he's got his color wheel. Here he's got his examples of layered colors with these colors, the Holbein colors. Look at this beautiful sunflower. Now this guy's got some phenomenal work in here that he has done. One thing he recommends that I was real surprised when I read it is he outlines with colored pencil the outline of his design. Now if I'm doing a white flower or a yellow flower, I am not going to outline those, because you're not going to get that outline out of there. And when I was doing oils, I worked so hard to not have that line show, unless you wanted to use, well, again though, if you're doing a white flower, you could, like if you were doing a yellow flower, you could outline it with watercolor pencil in yellow, and it would blend into the design, which would be nice. But here he shows you how he does his drawings, and he does it right on his watercolor paper, which is fine. But here you can see, hopefully, his outline. Now here he's actually doing it in watercolors. He's outlined this green in watercolors. He's outlined the outside of his green pepper in watercolors. And then he goes in and he does all of his shadows, which is really nice. I like that idea, especially with something as dark green as a green pepper is at times. So he does that, he puts in all of his shadows, and then he puts his green over the top. Any of his highlights, like he has here, he has blues in the background, which is absolutely perfect, because that's how you make something like this, either a leaf or green pepper shine, is to add that blue in there. It's going to give you that shine in the highlight that you're looking for. And then he breaks it down and does cuts it open and shows you the inside of that design. And then he goes into botanical art, which is really lovely. All the different designs. And here he is actually using, just looking to see if it says he's using a watercolor. Nope, he's actually doing a watercolor brush to do his outline. So he's doing all of his outlines in watercolor. I thought I had seen it in pencil. I might have misread it. See, now here he's doing like an ochre color for this cadmium lemon flower. I would use the cadmium lemon color so it'll blend into that a little bit better, but he's using a brush, so he is doing it with a brush. But look at that, isn't that gorgeous, those flowers? It's just stunning. I'm going to bring this down a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. He's got a fabulous style about him. He's got his nice little reds in there to create that depth into his flower. He's got his highlights. He really does a nice job with a lot of his paintings. And he shows you how to do a rose. He's got his shadows on the rose. That's the first thing he does after he outlines. He puts his shadows in, which is, if you were painting a white flower, that would be the first thing we would do too, is our grays. And then you would add in any other colors in that white flower that you can see. But here he actually does it that way with his pink roses, his dark leaves, all of that. So that's an interesting concept that he has here. This gentleman's been painting for many years, you can tell. Hydrangeas. He does a lot of different beautiful things in this book. And absolutely gorgeous. Now here he's got his white flowers. He outlined them, and I personally would not do that. I mean, if there was a yellow accent right there, then I would, you know, put in the yellow, but I don't want to outline my white flowers. So he's got some really pretty things in here. Here he takes you step by step and does his berries, and he does all of his berries in the yellow first with the shading of the yellow, and then he's got his shadows in the leaves right where he wants his highlights. He's got his blues. So he's an interesting artist, and it's fun to learn something new like this in his style of painting. Some of it I would be really happy to do. Here he does this lovely red onion. Now, he's added the shading to the entire subject, and he started out with a colored pencil. This is where I saw the colored pencil. See, he's doing the colored pencils here, and I don't believe that they're watercolor pencils. I believe they're just straight colored. And then he comes in and he puts watercolor on top. He's got the greens and the yellows up here, and here he's got the blues to show through the greens. So it's really rather interesting. Then he's got purples down here to give you the shade on that red onion. So it's really interesting to sit and watch. And he takes you step by step through all these detailed designs. He does walnuts. He does a lot of different things that a pine cone, which is fun to watch him do. And here he is with his red flower, and he's outlining it in green actually. And here he's actually got a pen. Trace the lines of the sketch. Use a gold pen. See, now from here it looks green, so that it's easy to see the lines that you've traced. So yeah, he's got some different ideas on how to get the values and things that he wants. And there's his red flower when he's done. And he takes you step by step with the buds, which is really nice. Sometimes you don't get that in some of the other books. How to do composition. He's got some of that in here. So he's got some really interesting techniques. And just looking to see, this was first published (2021), so it's not too old a book. I do buy a lot of books on either Amazon or eBay, and they may be older. But you know, art principles and art techniques, they come and, well, the techniques come and go, because some of them can be popular all the time and some of them may not be. So it never hurts to really buy an older book and read the techniques and see what you might not have been trained on, because it was an older technique and nobody was using it. But it doesn't mean you can't use it. But it gives you a real nice history of him and his experience. He's won a lot of awards. He's been a botanical art instructor at colleges and community centers throughout Japan. He's gotten awards from the UK, Korea, International Open Call Exhibition at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So he's done a lot of things. And it's interesting to see what you're going to find when you buy a book like this. Different ideas that does not hurt you to study. So that was the other thing that I wanted to go over, and that was the reason I decided I was going to try the Holbein paint, and that's why I did that. Now this is another item that I wanted to go over with you. It's a Stonehenge Aqua cold press. I'm going to back it up so you can just see the whole product here. Move it up a little bit for you. There we go. And you know, we need to do that just a little bit more the other way, just so you can see it all. It's better. Okay, this is what it says. It's very dark and very heavy. A paper of incredible feel. This is a game changer that inspired new ways to wield watercolors, gouache, and pencils. There is nothing light about it, so get ready to go dark. This is Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press Black Heavy, and it is 100% cotton. It's acid free, and it's 300 pound. So that's why they're calling themselves heavy. I like the cold press texture. I always have. It reminds me of my oil painting. I do always have a white transfer paper that you could use to put your design on. So that's something that you might want to look at too. And I just picked up some different colors here. White tulip would be really fun to do. And then I've got some beautiful pansies here that would be really pretty on that dark paper background. Same thing with this lovely little rose. So that would be pretty. And here's a daisy. I did this daisy in watercolors, watercolor pencils, and I was not happy with my choice of paper because I think with this black, it's going to be really make this pop. Of course, you're going to have to paint over the design in white first on the black paper, and you could probably do that in a white ink. You could do that in a white acrylic, which is probably what I will do because I just have those. Now, I went on their website and they give you real nice directions on how to remove your paper once it's painted and dried. Most watercolor papers, especially 300 pound, will have a cover sheet. Like Arches, the paper's white and the cover sheet is this color. But nowhere on their website could I see that. So I sent them an email asking do I need to remove this top sheet? Is it just a cover sheet? Or is it one of my 10 sheets that comes in this packet? And they told me that it is one of the watercolor pages. So if you buy the Stonehenge Black Heavy, do not remove the top one and throw it away, which is what we normally do with the other ones, because it is one of your heavy papers. So you want to design on it. But yeah, and then they just show you how to open it up with the knife and so forth, which I think, as most people are used to with any block paper. Now, the reason that I've decided to talk about some of these other things rather than paint is I'm going to be having surgery. Actually, it's 2 weeks from today, and it is unfortunately on my right side that they're going to be operating, and I am right-handed. So I am going to be out of commission for a while as far as painting itself. So I'll be doing some of these types of videos for YouTube for a while, and as soon as I'm able to go ahead and paint again, we'll get back to the normal style of showing you how to paint different things. And we will definitely do something on the Black Heavy Stonehenge, so that'll be fun. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining me on my YouTube channel. I would like to recommend that you go ahead and join me at Patreon. I've got some beautiful designs on there, step by step, that you can learn how to paint in watercolors. Thank you again. Have a lovely day.